They expected a battle, rage, fury, words sharpened like daggers. They craved a spectacle, something to clutch onto, a reason to paint you as the villain. But you gave them nothing. No screams, no pleas, no desperate justifications, only silence. And that silence, oh, it is not emptiness. It is the loudest reckoning they will ever face. You see, people understand conflict when it's noisy. They know how to fight words with words, fire with fire. But silence is foreign, unnerving, a void where they expected resistance. They wanted to push you into chaos, to trap you in their storm. But instead, you became the calm, unshaken, untouchable. And nothing is more terrifying than an opponent who refuses to play the game. This is not surrender. It is not weakness. It is a weapon honed sharper than rage. A hurricane so contained it shatters them without ever lifting a finger. A blade wrapped in velvet. A thunderstorm that never breaks, only looms. They will wait for your reaction, desperately searching for a sign that they still control you. But when none comes, when they realize you have denied them even your anger, then, and only then, do they truly begin to break. Power is an illusion built on reaction. The manipulator does not draw strength from themselves, but from the chaos they create in others. They push, they prod, they twist the knife, not because they are powerful, but because they need you to scream. Your rage, your tears, your desperate explanations, these are their sustenance. They provoke to confirm their control, to reassure themselves that they still own a piece of your mind. But what happens when you stop playing? When their cruel words are met with nothing? When their grand performance receives no applause, no outcry, only silence? They expect fire, but you give them ice. They anticipate a storm, but you become the sky before the hurricane, still, unreadable, vast. And in that silence, something strange happens. The power they thought they had starts to wither. Their insults become echoes in an empty room. Their accusations fall like raindrops on stone, meaningless, incapable of leaving a mark. You do not fight them. You do not plead. You simply step out of the battlefield and suddenly they are not warriors. They are just lost souls screaming into the void. And that void, it terrifies them. Because without your reaction, they are forced to face the one thing they have been running from all along, themselves. Silence is not surrender. It is a calculated retreat. A king does not argue with pawns. He moves with precision, knowing that sometimes the greatest attack is no attack at all. The manipulator wanted a war, but you refused to enlist. Now they are left to battle their own demons, trapped in a war of their own making. And as they spiral, as they grasp for control that no longer exists, one truth will haunt them. The quietest defeat is always the most devastating. In the aftermath of your silence, their mind becomes a theater of unease, replaying every interaction, every word, every flicker of your expression. Your final glance becomes a riddle they cannot solve. Your stillness, a labyrinth they are condemned to wander. They comb through the wreckage of your silence, examining every nuance. Was your smile a smirk, a warning, a farewell? Did the way you closed the door speak of endings or beginnings? Every detail becomes a haunting question. Every memory a ghost that whispers of their irrelevance. Paranoia creeps in like a shadow at twilight, consuming their thoughts. They once held the script, orchestrating every scene, every line you were supposed to utter. But now, stripped of your reactions, they are actors in a play that no longer exists. You've handed them a mirror, and in its reflection, they see the truth they sought to bury, the coward who wielded lies as weapons, the hollow shell masked as a titan. Silence does not just expose them, it magnifies their flaws, stretching their insecurities across the vast canvas of their mind. Their grand narrative crumbles. They cast you as the antagonist, the broken one, the fool stumbling through their labyrinth of deceit. But in your silence, you seized the pen and rewrote the story. You became the author of their unraveling, and each page of their script turns to ash in your quiet defiance. The plot twists they engineered fall flat. The climax fizzles into obscurity, and the audience, those they once manipulated as easily as you, begins to see the charade for what it is. For it is not just them who watches their downfall. It is everyone they roped into their theater of deception. The bystanders who once believed their tales, who clapped along to their orchestrated tragedies, now see the naked truth. The emperor has no clothes, and it was your silence that disrobed him. The more they try to reclaim control, the more they stumble. Entangling themselves in the web of lies they spun to catch you. Your silence has become a symphony that plays on their fears, a requiem that marks the death of their dominance. And in that unraveling, they find themselves standing alone, stripped of power, haunted by the quiet that speaks louder than any of their schemes ever could. They wanted control. They wanted your suffering to be their triumph, your pain to be their masterpiece. But in your silence, they found something far worse than resistance: irrelevance. And that is the wound that never heals. They move on, or at least they try. They seek new puppets, new distraction, new spectacles to command. But something is different now. The games don't feel the same. The victories taste hollow. Every triumph is laced with a quiet unease, because no matter how loudly they laugh, no matter how many masks they wear, they cannot drown out the ghost of your absence. Every fake smile is a funeral for their pride. Every fleeting success, a reminder that their greatest battle was lost, and not to fire, but to silence. They are prisoners now, not of you, but of themselves. Your silence was a mirror, and now they cannot look away. It follows them in the quiet moments, whispers to them in the spaces between their distractions. The mind they once used to manipulate others has turned against them, replaying their failures in endless loops. They lie awake at night, haunted not by your rage, but by the one thing they cannot undo: the fact that you refuse to play their game. And that silence, it does not fade, it is not forgotten. Anger cools, words are lost to time, but silence is eternal. It lingers, it festers, it carves itself into their very bones. It is not a mere absence, it is a monument, standing tall in the ruins of their ego. Desperate for control, they rewrite the past. They twist the story, cast themselves as the victim, spin a narrative where they were the noble one, and you, the cruel, heartless villain. They smear your name, fabricate your sins, shout their version of the truth from every rooftop. But here's the irony: the louder they scream, the more people notice what's missing. And that's you. Your absence, your quiet refusal to play their game, speaks louder than any accusation they hurl. They thought they could break you. Instead, they broke themselves. And now, no matter how much they rage, no matter how much they beg the world to see them as the hero, all that remains is the echo of your silence, a requiem they will hear for the rest of their lives. They will push, provoke, twist the knife, all in the hopes of extracting a reaction. Because to them, your pain is proof that they still matter. But when you offer nothing, when you meet their storm with stillness, you are not conceding, you are conquering. Your silence is not an absence, it is a presence. It is the cathedral they cannot burn, the rebellion they cannot crush, the requiem they never wanted to hear. Every word you withhold is a weight upon their soul. Every quiet step away, a nail in the coffin of their control. They thought they could shatter you, reduce you to a pleading whisper, but instead, they found themselves screaming into a void, one of their own making. So let them rage. Let them rewrite history. Let them search for the battle that never came. You have already won, not by fighting, but by refusing to play. Because in the end, the loudest voices fade, the angriest storms pass. But silence lingers. It echoes through time, carving itself into their regrets, their sleepless nights, their unfinished sentences. And when the dust settles, the only thing left standing is you.